Hello, YouTube. In today's video, we are back with another disgusting, disturbing, traumatizing true crime video. We're back with Rotten Mango. The title of today's case we're going to be watching is World's Youngest Serial Killer. 8-year-old Amarjeet Sada. Like this evil ass looking Indian kid. Look at that shit. He's just like staring, and then he's asking for a cookie in the interrogation room. I'm looking at the thumbnail. I mean, I'm seriously curious about how bad this case is gonna be, because like think about it, an 8-year-old, how much damage could an 8-year-old really cause? There's something about evil kids that scares me more than evil adults. The thing about kids is that they fly under the radar. You don't expect it to be them. So in other words, your guard is at its lowest around children. So yeah, I wonder how brutal this case is gonna be. Before we get into today's video, as you can see, I am streaming on Twitch right now. There's chat above my head. Everybody say hi to YouTube. If you want to join us for moments like this, follow me on Twitch, and also make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm ready for Stephanie to bless my ears with another disgusting story.
Bada bing, bada boom.
I have a star on my face because I have a massive pimple. So if you're watching the visuals, I'm sorry.
I can't watch this video anymore, Stephanie. That pimple is way too fucking disgusting. I'm glad you told me. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Parul was catching her breath as she's stepping in through her house front door. She was busy all day running all of these errands, running around town, buying groceries, going to the local shops. And on top of all of that, she's heavily pregnant. So it's going to take like 2 times as long to do everything. And now she's rushing in through the door. She's trying to check up on her 8-year-old son, Amar. And also she's babysitting.
That pronunciation sounds oddly like my name, Omar. That's the closest I'm ever gonna hear Stephanie say my name, by the way. That's actually really weird. I don't know. It took me out of the video really quick. I was like, who said my name? Like,
she's trying to check up on her 8-year-old son, Amar, and also she's babysitting her 6-month-old nephew. So she's checking up on both of them. And like, okay, yeah, in hindsight, probably not the best idea to leave an 8-year-old in charge of the house, in charge of watching this 6-month-old baby. But in this area, daycare is just not really a thing. Like, people don't really have babysitters. They don't really have places to send their kids so that they can run errands freely. This was the norm, and she had done it before. And Amar, who's 8, I mean, he's pretty good. He's been left home alone. He's been babysitting his cousin. Everything has been fine. So she walks in through the door and she sees her son Amar just playing on the ground with all of his little toy cars. She's like, hey, sweetie, I'm home. And she's putting down the groceries and she's wondering, okay, well, where's the nephew? Where's the 6-month-old? Amar just is sitting there quietly and doesn't even respond to her.
Did Amar kill the 6-month-old?
Sweetie, did you hear me? Where is the baby? Is he in the crib? He's not responding. So she stops what she's doing, looks at her son, and she sees that he's kind of smiling. And it's just odd. It's a little unsettling. Like, he's not laughing. He's not giggling. It feels like, you know, when a kid is playing a joke on you and they hid your keys when you're super busy? It's like that smile. So she's like, okay, come on, get out of here. Like, where's the baby? And he just says so calmly, Mom, I killed him. At first she thinks,
kill the kid. No, I'm not doing that. I don't play about that shit. Throw the kid away. Oh, nah.
At first she thinks all of this is a joke. I mean, maybe this is how kids joke around. Maybe he inherited some weird, sick, deranged sense of humor from someone up in her family line. She doesn't know where, but this has got to be a joke, right? So she gets up and she's like, what are you talking about? Where did you hide the baby? The game is over. Hurry up and tell me. He just grabs her hand and starts leading her to the backyard. And I think this is when she genuinely starts feeling a little bit more relaxed. I mean, I think she could still probably hear the heartbeat in her throat. She's probably still a little bit panicked because the baby is still missing right now. But she's thinking, okay, I'm gonna go outside. The baby's gonna be laying flat on its back in the grass in the backyard, sucking its thumb, looking up at the sky. It's gonna be okay. And then I'm gonna have to teach my kid a lesson. But as they're heading out, there's nothing. The deeper they get into their backyard, she's starting to get that anxious feeling again. And she starts scolding her son, like, this isn't a good prank. Just tell me where you hid him. You need to tell me. This could be dangerous. He starts silently leading her towards the back, further and further. And finally, he lifts his hand, his tiny little hand, and points at the ground. There's a bunch of dirt that looks like it's been freshly dug in a patch of grass. She doesn't even have time to think. She throws herself on all fours. She starts digging until her fingers brush soft skin, and she lifts her baby nephew out of the dirt. And it looked like he had been in some sort of horrible car accident. I mean, she could hear ringing in her ears. She's panicking. And she looks at her son and he just calmly says, I smashed his head with a brick. And she leaned over to the side and threw up.
And the 8-year-old dug a grave?
Dug a grave.
the baby. And then the way the 8-year-old kid Amar just calmly said, I bashed her head with bricks, like with a brick, right? This confirms my idea, my theory that some people are just born evil. That kid's a prime example. How are you that fucked up at 8 years old? That's not normal. No, you can be born with that shit.
This case takes place in India. I had our wonderful Indian researchers assist with gathering all of the data for this case and honestly just helping understanding the cultural aspect to it all. Indian culture in some respects is very similar to Korean or even American culture, but there are some stark differences. So if there's any chance that there's any nuance of cultural significance that I wasn't able to fully grasp, please let me know. Or if there's anything else you want me to know about this case, let me know in the comments. And I'm sure you guys already know this, but a quick disclaimer. Okay, the actions of one individual does not reflect on the culture nor the Indian population as a whole. So with that being said, let's get into it.
You know damn well, like some people would use this to be racist to Indians. Holy shit.
Let's get into it. The police are sitting across from a serial killer in the interrogation room. Now,
Serial killer?
A serial killer, yes. Now, usually there's a whole list of mind games that they play in order to get the serial killer to confess to their crimes. It's a little bit different versus a regular killer. Not that okay, regular killer sounds weird, but you get what I'm saying. A serial killer, they have a tendency to kill a lot of people and they have a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's a little bit different from having just not a regular killer, but you get the idea. They handle serial killers in a different way. And serial killers, they like to play their games. It is not uncommon for serial killers to ask for things from the police. They say, ooh, before I start talking, before I tell you where the bodies are, before I confess to the crime so these families can get closure, maybe I can get a cigarette around here. What's a guy got to do to get a cup of coffee? Or maybe sometimes it's a full-on fast food order. A lot of them like to ask for these things because it makes them feel powerful. I mean, think about it. It's almost, when you're in the interrogation room, most people would think, I don't have the power here. The police have the power. But when a serial killer says, I've got information you desperately want, and I'm going to make you sit here and watch me eat McDonald's until I decide I'm ready to tell you, it makes them feel like they hold all of the power. They want to savor this moment.
No way the 8-year-old did that. That's some villain shit.
So the investigators in this case, they're sitting across from a serial killer, and they're asking, tell us why you did it. Why did you kill them? And he just says, I want some biscuits. Like the cookies, you know, the biscuit cookies that you dip in the tea. I want that and I want a cup of tea. The investigators are annoyed, but I mean, what choice do they have, right? They walk out of the room, they get the cookies and the tea. And for a few minutes, they're sitting there in the interrogation room with the serial killer, watching him just munching on his packets of cookies and leisurely sipping his tea, as if they're just having afternoon tea with one another, as if they're old buddies from like the college days.
I'd smack the fuck out of that kid. No. Like, who do you think you are, bro? You gotta humble him.
Once the killer had his fill, he leans back and he starts talking. She was sleeping. I took her away and I killed her with a brick. I was like smashing the brick on her face, and then I buried her. I actually didn't feel that much excitement when I tried strangling her because she wasn't fighting back. So that's why I chose the brick. I hit her a lot of times with the brick.
Because he wanted a reaction?
Yeah.
To have her fight back?
And when they ask, like, why? Like, still that doesn't answer why. That answers maybe how, but why? He just says, because I felt like it. I just wanted to. If one of the investigators had dropped their notepad or pen, because this is a shocking confession, when they leaned down to pick it up, they would have seen that the serial killer's feet did not even touch the ground. His legs were dangling off the interrogation room chair. Because he's 8 years old. This is the story of Amardeep Sada, the world's youngest serial killer ever. So, I mean, this is crazy. And I know with a lot of serial killers, we like to go into the childhood and figure out, like, what happened? Did they fall off a swing? Which is like a big conversation we've had on this pod, right? But Amardeep's childhood seems so normal, if not mundane, in some aspects. So
I feel like he's just entering childhood.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he's literally in childhood. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
So
I feel like he's just entering childhood.
Yeah, exactly. Like the very barely there 8 years that he's been around town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even call it a childhood, I guess, right? He just started living.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning of his life.
Oh, okay. Somebody in chat just pointed it out. His cousin was a boy, and then his sister too. He killed his own sister as well. So he killed a boy and a girl. So he killed 2 children. There's the clarification. So the boy that he killed was his cousin, and then the girl that he killed was his baby sister.
So at the very beginning of his life, he was kind of like every other boy his age. His parents said that he was very rambunctious and he went through the terrible toddler phase, the terrible twos phase. But I don't think it was something so alarming. I don't think anyone sat there and was like, this one is different. This one is extra wild. I mean, he would do the normal things. Like he would lay like a starfish if you don't give him what you want. Or sometimes you're like trying to take him out of the playground. He would pretend to be dead and go limp. And he was like that. When he didn't get the things that he wanted, he would just pout. He didn't care that his family wasn't financially well off. He just wanted the toys. He wanted what he wanted for dinner. I mean, he was just a kid, right? But how could his parents not adore him? He was their only son, their only child. And every morning, Amar's mother would get out her kohl. It's like this black powder that can also be used as eyeliner. And she would dip her thumb in it and smear a dot on the side of Amar's forehead. And she says, so this is a tradition where a black dot is placed on the child's forehead or cheek. It's supposed to ward off evil. It's supposed to ward off the evil eye. Yeah, and it's protecting the child from all the negative influences. And it's a very heartfelt, motherly thing to do. It's one of those like heartwarming symbols of a mom's love. His mom would do that for him every single day. And she would say, may no one cast an evil eye on you. I don't think that she had any idea that he was the one that was going out there to be evil.
Your son was the evil eye, bro. Like there was the you don't gotta worry about evil attacking him. He was doing the evil.
I mean, how could she? Her son is 8. Imagine calling a child evil. You would get canceled. You would get canceled all over social media. But imagine if that child is 8 years old, not even like 15, 16, 8. No one would ever even consider the fact that an 8-year-old could knowingly do something malicious. And to the adults, he was like this little angel. He was always known to be very smiley. That's what the neighbors said about him. Even the police, when they interrogated him, they said he smiles a lot. Like just nonstop smiling. You ask him questions, he's gonna be smiling.
Bro
He's
thinks
telling you
it's
the
a
story of how he
game.
killed people, he's smiling. When he's asking for cookies, he's smiling. So Amar's friends, on the other hand, I mean, he smiled at them too, but they were just
He's probably sociopathic. I feel if he's like just smiling even after he's being interrogated by law enforcement after he killed 3 children. Yeah, no.
So Amar's friends, on the other hand, I mean, he smiled at them too, but they were just they were the only ones, it seems, that kind of noticed something off about him. He just played different. You know, when kids are playing, they're learning social skills and they're learning what it means to joke around without actually being too mean. They're learning how to be aggressive and initiate play wrestling without actually initiating a full-on war, a full-on fight. And then I'm sure you've met one of those people, even as an adult, where you're like, ooh, I feel like they don't really grasp the concept of how to talk to people. Like everyone is in a group and they're joking around lightly and they're like almost uplifting each other in their jokes. Like they're not actually punching down. But then this person will come in and just absolutely rip people to shreds, light someone on fire with their insults, but they're laughing as if they're doing exactly what you're doing. And you're like, that is not what we're doing here. It was kind of like that, but in the more childish sense. So Amar's friend said that he was always extra aggressive. Like there was just something about it.
Somebody in chat makes a really good point. Think about it. He's 8 years old. A kid isn't going to be nearly as strong as most killers. So the targets weren't going to be adults. So the sad part about today's video is that there's going to be a lot of infant mortalities. Like there's going to be a lot of toddler deaths. Because yeah, I mean, he's 8 years old. Like, do you really think he's going to go after adults? Like, yeah.
And it was very noticeable, but they couldn't tell him about it. They couldn't confront him about it. They didn't even know how. They're just kids. For example, all of their friends would be play fighting or wrestling, pushing each other around. And then Amar would come in and he would just start throwing down real punches as if he wants to hurt whoever the friend is that he's punching. But he's laughing as he's doing this.
Hell
So
no.
he feels like he's playing, but he's actually hurting people.
Yes. So the other kids, you know, they're still learning how to be around in these social settings. They don't know how to tell him, wait, that's not what we're doing. Because he could easily say, that is what you're doing. You're also punching and laughing and I'm punching and laughing. But the way he's punching and laughing is like he genuinely is trying to hurt someone.
Gaslighting.
I mean, thankfully he's 8 and he's a pretty scrawny kid, so none of his friends got seriously injured, but they would just kind of sit there and be like, that is so weird. It feels a little bit unpredictable and a little bit unhinged, a little bit scary for his friends. And they also said whenever we played games, you know, we were at the age where we don't really throw tantrums in front of each other. We're like 7 or 8. Maybe we do that at home, but we're trying to be cool kids in front of each other. If he didn't win a game, he would whirl his arms around like a propeller, just smacking around anybody in his way. He would kick dirt around, and then he would march off home as if you personally attacked him. And everyone's like, okay, well, maybe he'll grow up. Maybe it'll get better once he starts growing up, right? But then he starts becoming a little bit antisocial in an
Right.
angry way. So there would be
That didn't happen.
instances where his neighborhood friends, they would be running in their group down to the little lake, and they would see him sitting on his front doorstep. So they're passing, and they would call out, hey, you want to come and play with us? And he would look at the ground and he would say, I don't really want to. Just in like a really soft voice. And then they'd say, hey, why are you not playing with us anymore? Are we not your friends anymore? Yeah, it's been so long. Like, let's go for the swim in the pond. It'll be so fun. Out of nowhere, Amar would jump to his feet and start screaming from the bottom of his lungs, no, like screaming at them. They could see the veins on his neck. His face was turning red. I mean, they were honestly so spooked out about this.
Yeah, he's exhibiting all of the things that I usually call out, like antisocial personality disorder, being sociopathic, showing signs of being sociopathic anyway. Yeah, those two are really common, especially if you're like a child. That's a big red flag. Yeah.
I mean, they were honestly so spooked out about this. It's so weird. They would book it. They would book it out of there because it's creepy. So instead of playing with his friends, Amar would just isolate himself. He would spend more and more time by himself as he turned like 7 or 8 years old. He would climb trees and just stay up there for hours, staring at anyone that was walking by below him, or he would stay home and play with his toys by himself. Now, from all accounts that I could find, Amar was the bully. Like literally all the sources are like, Amar was the bully. But Amar's mom didn't really think so. Okay, I think this goes to show you how much she doted on him, and this could play a huge factor in this case. But she genuinely babied him. Like, have you ever met those parents where their kids are an absolute menace to society, but they think that their kids are the ultimate victims to society?
I fucking hate parents like that, bro. Oh my god. Have y'all ever met one in real life? It's the worst thing ever. And I see it even more online. Holy shit. I hate that even after a kid, right, somewhere, or a teenager does some mass shooting or something, or they just behave like absolute monsters, and the parents just don't give a fuck. They treat them like angels, which just enables the behavior even more. They perpetuate that victim mentality, that angel mentality that exists inside of the fucked up kid. So like in their head, they keep the God complex, they keep the victim complex. They just get worse because in their head, no matter what I do, I'll always be the good angel to my parents and they'll defend me.
But they think that their kids are the ultimate victims to society. So Amar would come in, and there was this one time he had come in with grass stains all over his clothes. He had dirt all over his knees. He had a cut on his knee. And honestly, it just feels like he was playing rough with his friends, or maybe he fell climbing up a tree. But his mom thought otherwise. She was cooking. She freaked out. She wiped her hands on her apron, and she's running up to him, like trying to get the dirt off of him. Like, what happened? What happened? He wouldn't say. So she thinks, oh my God, he's being bullied. The next day, she goes to get a holy amulet, which is she goes to a Hindu priest and asks for a holy amulet, which is considered
he's
an object
totally
with great
getting
spiritual
bullied.
powers. You wear it to protect you, and it offers blessings and guidance. It's like a tangible connection to the divine. And she gives it to him. And she's like, you gotta wear this so you don't get bullied. And he's like, no, this is disgusting and embarrassing. I don't want to wear this from you, Mom. And he's saying, absolutely not. The only way that she could convince him to wear it was to tell him that the amulet came from the Hindu deity of love, compassion, devotion, strength, and intelligence himself. So some people speculate this kind of goes to show maybe he had some sort of budding narcissistic personality disorder where he felt like it was now worthy to be worn every single day if it was given from someone very powerful versus his mom. But
Okay, yeah, so the mom definitely fueled this shit. The mom definitely fueled him.
But he's 8, so I don't think we can really speculate, right? Now, Amar gave his mom a sly smile, and he snatches the amulet, and he wears it every single day now. And I just don't even think that Amar really considered how much his parents loved him. Like, his parents were under constant stress. Okay, his dad, I believe his dad was the only one that was working, and he was a day laborer, meaning he would go to all these nearby farms and he would ask, do you guys need any workers today? If they said yes, he would work that day and get paid for that one day. If they said no, he would have to move on to the next farm. And if all of them said no, he would have no work that day. It's just so unstable. And even when he did work, he was making basically pennies. The average wage for a day laborer in that area was around $2.50 or $3 per day. And that's calculated with inflation.
Wow.
So they genuinely don't know where their next meal is coming from. But they're still trying to give their son all the toys, all the food that he wanted. I mean, they couldn't say yes to him every single time, which, side note, he would throw an absolute tantrum every time that they said no. But at least they tried to give him anything that his friends would have. They were really happy with having a son. His parents were a bit traditional. This is also going to come into play in a second because it's all going to go to shit in 2 seconds and you're going to be like, why did this happen? So his parents were very traditional. They felt like a son was the best thing to happen to them. They felt like a son is an heir. They're someone that's going to live in your house traditionally, and their wife is going to come live in your house with the son. They're going to have their own kids, and you're going to live with all of them, and they're going to take care of you as you get older.
Oh, God. Fucking boy mom. It's like a boy mom situation. Oh, my God. I made a video about the subject of boy moms and why they're sometimes so problematic. And in this culture, it's not just this culture, it's in a lot of cultures, sons are just treated way better than daughters.
Meanwhile, having a daughter is kind of like a gift. You get to spend a good amount of time with her, and then you give her away to the husband's family. Side note, this is super traditional. Not everyone in India is like this, but Amar's family was super traditional. They really babied him, like really babied him. So Amar's aunt, Meena, comes over one day. She's like, I have a huge favor. I'm so sorry. This is Amar's mom's sister.
Mm-hmm. So
do you mind taking care of my 6-month-old son for just 1 month? Wow. I'm so desperate, you have no idea. So for the past 6 months, since the day that she had her baby boy, Mina has been dealing with physical, emotional recovery of giving birth, but also the burden of just not being able to put food on the table. They have been up to their neck every single day for the past 6 months. And Mina finally, she found a job in the city where she could clean houses for a month. And it wasn't a job where she could take her son. She'd be cleaning people's homes day in, day out. She would start her mornings at 7 a.m., do chores as fast as she could, onto the next house, onto the next, and then probably be back at midnight, get back up at 7 a.m., 7 days a week, no off days. And at the end, they get to take home about $35 to $100 a month. Not per day, per month.
Wow.
Yeah. Mina needed this $100. It would be a life of a difference for their struggling family. I mean, no mom wants to part with their newborn child like that, but it's so that he could have his belly full. And it made sense to leave her baby boy with Parul, Amar's mom, because Parul was heavily pregnant with her second child. So she was going to be breastfeeding soon, and the nephew would also be breastfed, so she'd be kind of like a wet nurse, like a caretaker. Parul was like, I don't know, Mina. I mean, we're already drowning in bills. We can barely put food on the table. I don't know if we can take in another mouth to feed. Obviously, I want to help, but we're about to have another one on the way. Mina said, I can send you some of my money.
Somebody in chat also says, I do have sympathy for the mom. What I was going to say is that I can sympathize with, they were poor, right? So you don't want your child to see you as poor. You want to give your children the world. I think the mom just went way too far. And they overly babied this kid, trying to give him everything. And it gave him a spoiled mentality.
So Parul could not say no. She agreed. And the day Mina was set to leave, she brought her son over. I don't know if I could verify his name, so we're just going to call him the baby boy. And Mina just cradled him, said a prayer for him, dabbed a bit of coal from her eyes to his forehead to protect him. And then she left. Mina was sad, but she's like, this is the right thing to do. Not only that, but this is like the second best place for my baby. If I can't take care of my baby, my sister is the second best place. Nobody's going to care for my baby like our family. So for the first week, Parul is just adjusting to have a newborn around. And she kind of thought it was good practice since she's going to be having a baby soon. It would have been 7 years since Amar had been an infant. So she's getting all these refreshers. She's using Amar's old clothes, old toys, old crib for the baby, as well as some of the things that Mina had left for her. And one morning, she's like, oh my God, I got to go.
Oh, he's going to get jealous. Did you guys hear that? Look, wait.
For the infant. So she's getting all these refreshers. She's using Amar's old clothes, old toys, old crib for the baby, as well.
Oh, I'm seeing where this is going. So they're gonna repurpose Amar's old stuff when he was a baby, when he was like a smaller baby, for the other child, for the 6-month-old. Oh, and we know that Amar is like super narcissistic, right? Super self-centered. He's gonna see that shit, and that's gonna get him mad.
As some of the things that Mina had left for her. And one morning, she's like, oh my God, I gotta go to the market to buy some vegetables for dinner tonight. We're out of vegetables. So she swaddles the baby boy, places him into the crib, and she tells her son, keep an eye on the baby. I'm not gonna be gone long. I'm just literally going down the street to get some veggies, okay? Amar nods and watches her rush out the door. Once he heard that door click shut, and this is from his confession, he jumped to his feet and walked to the crib. He stared down at the baby peacefully sleeping in front of him, and he starts kind of pinching his baby cousin's cheeks. Like lightly, when you, with affection, kind of pinch a baby's cheeks. Mm-hmm. And then Amar pulled his arm back, gave it a second thought, paused, and then lifted his hand all the way back and slapped the baby on the face as hard as he could.
And it's only gonna escalate. Oh my fuck.
And so, of course, his baby cousin starts waking up crying, crying from the shock and the pain, and Amar is smiling. To him, I guess there was something about the baby's cries that felt good, like some sort of achievement. It was his goal.
Oh, hell no. He's a psychopath. Getting happy about a little baby crying.
And he keeps reaching up and down to slap, pinch, hit, all of these things, even scratching his cousin. He did this until his cousin's voice was scratchy and raw from all the crying. Eventually, the fun wears off, and Amar reaches both his hands down into the crib. He might have even needed to tiptoe a bit to get all the way down to where the baby was laying, because he's 7, okay? And he used his 2 small hands to wrap them around his cousin's even smaller neck, and he squeezed. He never broke eye contact. He watched as his cousin started wheezing, and then he watched as his cousin's eyes turned bright red. He didn't even stand a chance. Newborns can't fight back, but not only that, they're so utterly delicate, it can just take 15 seconds for a baby to lose consciousness from strangulation. The brain cannot go more than 4 minutes without oxygen. The cousin was dead before Parul could even get to the market.
6-month-old, by the way. 6 months.
So Amar felt like he had more time. He grabbed his baby cousin and hauled him to the backyard. And at first he thought, okay, maybe I'm just gonna lay him in the grass. But it just didn't feel like enough. So he grabbed a nearby brick and started slamming it onto the delicate skull. And he did this until there was allegedly brain matter splattered all over the grass around.
This is a child sent straight from hell. Didn't I say this at the beginning of stream? I think I literally said, I hope that because they're an 8-year-old, that they can't go on to commit that much brutality. That is crazy. Smashing a little infant's head with a brick until the brain is literally splattering on the floor, on the ground.
Until there was allegedly brain matter splattered all over the grass around. This becomes a thing that he seems to do quite a bit. Other sources say that he also tended to shove mud into their mouths, but that one was not as verifiable. So
behavior like that shows that he enjoyed it. If you start putting like dirt and stuff into the body, and I mean, yeah, like the constant banging even after the victim is already dead, that shows like it shows that they enjoy just the process, the act of committing violence. It's like an infatuation. Like, oh, I wonder how much blood I can get out of them by doing this. And oh, let me stick some stuff in here. Like, dude, no. Like, that is actually, I mean, it's like a morbid type of demonic curiosity.
And finally, when he felt satisfied enough, he grabbed the little family shovel nearby and starts digging this shallow grave. He places his cousin inside and he starts pushing all of this dirt that he can find on top. Whatever leftover of the brain matter, he went and sprinkled some dirt and loose grass, like loose as if he just pulled it out and sprinkled it on top. Just sprinkled it on top and then went inside. The whole thing took less than half an hour. When Parul came home, Amar seemed like he was deep in this like solo play session with his toy cars, just as if nothing had happened. And if you remember from the beginning of this episode, his mom is telling him, like, where did you hide the baby? Come on, this is not a fun prank. He leads her to the backyard and points at the ground where he had just buried his cousin. And he just straight up tells his mom everything. In almost this, in Korean we call it banbane, which means just so blunt to the point where it's like just not socially acceptable. He would say things like, yeah, I mean, I killed him. I hit him in the head with the brick. And she just lost it. Now, I don't know how she got through the next few hours. It's not like she could call her husband to come home because he was at work where she couldn't reach him. She couldn't call her sister for help. She couldn't even call the police because her motherly instinct told her that she couldn't turn in her own child.
That's what I was just about to guess. I was about to say, dude, this mom better not do some more fuck shit right now. This mom better still not be babying the kid, protecting him, making him out to be an angel. Like, oh, like, I'm sure it wasn't your fault. I'm sure the baby was annoying and that's why you had to kill it. Nah, bro.
Her sister for help. She couldn't even call the police because her motherly instinct told her that she couldn't turn in her own child.
Wow, no way.
So she waited until Amar's dad got home. And what he did is also very confusing. He grabbed his belt and beat Amar within an inch of his life. Amar kneeled in front of them and he's bleeding. He's like a mess.
Fuck it. Hey. Controversial. Good. Controversial take. Good. Beat the fuck out of that little kid. I don't care.
Within an inch of his life. Amar kneeled in front of them and he's bleeding. He's like a mess. And the parents are pacing around the house trying to figure out what to do next. And they're trying to reason with themselves. They're like, he's just a kid, you know? There's just no way that he knew what he was doing. He probably doesn't even know what death is, right? And they were probably just playing. And I mean, there's no way that he meant to do this. But
they were just playing. Maybe he accidentally did it. Bro, he repeatedly smashed its skull with a brick. Like, bro, he repeatedly, sorry, let me rephrase that. He repeatedly bashed the baby's skull with a brick. Yeah, no, that's not playing.
We have a body in our backyard. Do we call the police? No, that's going to ruin his life. He's just a kid. We can punish him ourselves, punish him so badly that he will never, ever think of doing something like this ever again. You know, what's done is done. Going to the police is not going to change anything. So they wait. And a month later, when Mina walks through the door, she saw the couple sitting on the couch waiting for her. And they were like at the edge of...
Wait, how much later?
When
a month later. The parents, after that, they didn't do anything. They didn't contact the police for a whole month and waited for the mother of that child to come back. The mother of the deceased child to come back. Meanwhile, the body of the baby has just been rotting underground.
Mina walks through the door. So they wait. And a month later, when Mina walks through the door, she saw the couple sitting on the couch waiting for her. And they were like at the edge of their seats, as if they had been waiting on her. And it's just unsettling. It's weird. And she's like, hey guys, what's going on? Like, why are you guys so serious? It said that Amar's dad got up, walked up straight to Mina, and dropped to his knees. What's going on? What are you doing? And he said, please, it was just an accident. Mina was so confused, so she's looking at her sister, who's sobbing on the couch, and her face is in her hands. I mean, her whole body is shaking. And between sobs, she says, Amar and the baby were playing, but there was an accident, and now he's dead, and we had to bury him because the neighbors were going to find out.
Oh,
So they begged with a
they're
hysterical
literally
Mina,
sweeping
"Please, you cannot
for
let
him.
this
They
get
don't
out.
even
His
know what
life is gonna be
happened,
ruined,
and
it's
they're
not
just
like it's
saying
gonna change
accident
anything.
already.
We will carry this burden for the rest of our lives. I will promise you that." It said that Mina looked for Amar, her son's killer, and he was hiding halfway behind a door, and he was peeking out with half of his body, like half of his face was visible. And it said that she didn't need to see his whole face to know that he was smiling. So for whatever reason, Mina agreed not to file charges. Maybe it was for her sister. Maybe she agreed somewhat with the logic that Amar's life would be ruined and it wouldn't bring back her son. And not only that, but I think a big aspect is it would probably ruin her family relationship, not just with her sister, but probably with everybody else too. I mean, even if they don't know what's going on, it's going to be tense. It's going to be family drama. Not that, this.
I mean, okay, not gonna lie, I can understand that, because that would fuck up the family dynamic, especially if you and your siblings get along, like the adults, if they all get along. I can understand the victim's mother's mentality, like, ugh, like, if I lost my son, but now you're telling me that if I report the kid that killed my son, I'm now gonna lose my entire family. I feel for her more. I feel for her. Yeah, the mother of the dead child. I feel for her. But everybody else, hell no. They should have been responsible and turned themselves in. But no, they were selfish, and now they put the whole responsibility of reporting everything on the grieving mother. That's extremely selfish. Yeah. To put all that pressure on her. They should have turned themselves in.
Isn't, but what's going on, it's going to be tense. It's going to be family drama. Not that, this isn't, but for whatever reason, the police never found out. And within 6 months, it's like Amar's parents forgot the whole thing. I mean, they really dote on him. I don't know if I want to call it the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if I want to call it like the son syndrome, which I've experienced in South Korean culture, which is when parents are so obsessed with their sons, they think like their sons are Jesus Christ reincarnated. I don't know. Maybe it's that. But they just like put it past them. They pushed the accident, that's what they considered it, an accident, to the back of their minds. And their logic was, this is a one-time mistake. A mistake that a child made because they didn't know better. And now he knows better. He knows that hitting people with bricks is not a thing that you do. Side note, I personally feel like that's not something that needs to be taught, but here we are. And the parents believed wholeheartedly Amar just didn't know better at the time, which is why they felt like it was okay to bring another infant into the house.
Dude. So this is where the second victim comes in, because now Amar feels invincible. Amar feels like he can get away with anything, with murder, basically. Oh my god. Lock up the parents. Lock them up too. Hell no. Lock up those fucking parents. Oh, like, yeah, guys, our son just killed somebody, but it's okay. So, you know what? Fuck it. Let's bring in another infant around him. Like, are you kidding me?
This time, it was Amar's baby sister.
There we go.
She gave birth.
Yeah. And his parents were so ecstatic. They had always wanted one boy, one girl in that order. And they sat Amar down, let him hold his baby sister for the first time, and they told him, this is your little sister. You're a big brother now. You have to protect and look after her. This is your job. Do you understand? And he would smile and nod. And for a while, everything in the house was normal. Like, Amar was back to climbing trees, scraping his knees, living his best life. Which, side note, imagine being the aunt and seeing Amar live the life that your own son will never get to live. Like, I don't know how I could even face any of them after that. Amar was actually good for a minute. He was good with his sister. His parents would smile as they would walk by, and Amar would be sitting by his little sister's crib, watching over her protectively. Or they would all be eating dinner together, and his little baby sister would eat peas for the first time, and she would flick them at people, and he would just smile so lovingly. And as the baby sister got a little bit older, a few months old, she started smiling back at him. Until one afternoon, the whole family was having quiet time. I don't know if you guys have quiet time in your family, but it's usually after lunch. So the whole family is instructed to go back to their rooms to do something quiet. Like after lunch, you go read a book, you nap, you do puzzles, whatever it may be. You cannot be loud, you cannot turn on the TV. So Parul and her husband were taking a nap in their rooms, and I believe their door was open. The baby was in her crib taking a nap as well, and the baby wasn't inside their room, but because their door was open and their house was not big, they could hear everything. I mean, if they heard that baby cry, they could be there in like 5 seconds max. Amar was in his room, quietly playing with his toys.
Oh God, is this when it happens? This is when it happens, isn't it?
And at this point, a full 8 months had passed since Amar's cousin was killed by Amar. And I'm not sure why. Perhaps out of sheer boredom, curiosity, or just some sort of sick, deranged twistedness. Amar got up, tiptoed his way over to his little sister's crib. She wasn't asleep. She was staring blankly at the ceiling. She's kind of half smiling at Amar as he's staring over her. He leans down as if he's going to pick her up. And then as fast as lightning, his hands wrap around her neck. Her airway is completely obstructed. She could not cry or scream. She could only wave her arms and kick her legs. He used all of his might to strangle her, and eventually even her legs stopped kicking. He stared at her limp body for maybe a few seconds before he slithered back into his room, just leaving her like that in the crib. He went back to playing with his toys as if nothing had happened. When his parents woke up, he heard them make their way to the baby's crib. And Parul saw that her baby girl was just sleeping, so she leaned down to kind of stroke her cheek. And as soon as she touched her chubby little cheek, she jerked her hand back. Her baby...
Cold. Yeah, she's gonna feel how cold the baby was.
Her cheek. And as soon as she touched her chubby little cheek, she jerked her hand back. Her baby's skin was cold, like stone cold.
There you go.
And she turned around and she called for her husband, and in the corner of her eye, she could see Amar, and he was playing with his toys on the floor. She marched up to him. What have you done? What have you done? Did you kill your sister? Amar looked up and nodded. Some sources say that he was smiling. Amar's father took a few big steps, raised his hand above his head, and slapped the 8-year-old with the entire force of a full-grown man. I mean, that effectively knocked the smile out of Amar's face. He started sobbing on the floor. His parents are...
Good. Now kill him. No, dude, for real though. What the fuck? Yeah, so somebody in chat said, "Oh my God, bitch, kill that thing." Yeah, dude, it's not too late. Abort it. Abort Amar.
Screaming, "What grown man?" I mean, that effectively knocked
Super late term abortion after he's abort Amar, even though he's already been born.
The smile off his head and slapped the 8-year-old with the entire force of a full-grown man. I mean, that effectively knocked the smile out of Amar's face. He started sobbing on the floor. His parents are screaming, "Why? Why would you do this? Why did you do this? Answer the question." Amar's mom was on the floor, like hysterical. She was losing her mind, rightfully so. It got to the point where neighbors started gathering outside their door because there was so much of a ruckus. They wanted to know if they were okay. Some of the neighbors actually rushed in through the door without knocking because they thought something horrible was happening to the family. And when they run in, they're processing the scene. The entire family is in the living room. I mean, the parents are beyond hysterical. It's not even like they got robbed. Like, the feeling is something terrible, terrible happened. Amar is being punished, and there's a dead baby in the crib.
Oh, they saw the dead baby?
Yeah, so they're putting 2 and 2 together, these neighbors. They try to calm down the father, Amar's father, and reason with him. "We have to report this to the police. You have to put a stone in your heart. It's going to be rough, but you have to do it."
Are they not going to report him to the police? I swear, I'm gonna rage.
And the dad allegedly said, "No, I'm going to kill him myself." The neighbors had to physically hold him back.
No.
Now, Amar is sitting there, just tears running down his face, and he's angry now.
Let him, bro. Let him.
You know when you scold a child for too long, sometimes they get angry, I guess? And he's screaming like a petulant child, "So what if I killed her?" And, I mean, even the neighbors didn't know what to say.
Freaking way.
They got quiet on this one. Like, so what? So what? How do you even answer that? It's almost as if he's asking, "So what if I ate the cookie before dinner? Why should I be punished for something that's not the end of the world?" And the neighbors are like, "Okay, we can't do anything about this." So they silently hush each other out of there. I mean, there was nothing that they could do to help now. This kid was beyond helpable in their belief. And the next 2 days, they just anxiously waited around to see if Amar's parents had gone to the police. Instead, they showed up at each neighbor's doorstep with a favor. "If you could just please keep quiet about what you saw. It's a family matter, and we would like to handle it within our family. We're gonna..."
I'm dumb, bro. This shit makes me want to rage quit. Oh my God. At this point, this might sound fucked up, but at what point do you say the parents, not the children, not the children, but the parents had it coming? Like, you don't get to cry if you lose any more children, right? Because you're letting it slide. You cannot let it slide and then be so outraged when your other kid is killed. Like, fuck you, dude. Like, at that point, you're asking for it. You're letting it slide over and over and over again, dude. Now, obviously, I don't want more children to die. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that children deserve that, but it's just like the parents? Fuck me, dude.
Make sure that I'm keep quiet about what you saw. It's a family matter and we would like to handle it within our family. We're going to make sure that Amar learns his lesson, so please.
Somebody in chat said child abuse is never okay, except for when it's this kid. Retweet.
It's a family matter and we would like to handle it within our family. We're going to make sure that Amar learns his lesson, so please, we're already suffering, so don't make it worse for us. If you want to help, just please stay quiet. I think the parents' logic was they already lost one child and putting another one in jail would be effectively losing him as well. I think that they also hoped that they could maybe beat the murderous tendencies out of their son. I guess they thought, he's just 9. Maybe we can teach him for the next decade what he did is bad and eventually he can move on, get a job, get a wife, have children of his own.
No. Nope.
Listen, I'm not sure I'm on board with this logic, but also I've never been a parent, so maybe I wouldn't know. Leave it in the comments if you're a parent. Like, does this logic make sense or is this kind of crazy?
I'm not a parent, but I would 1000% understand beating the fuck out of that child and perhaps, let's just say, return it to God. Return it to God, in other words. Yes.
Maybe I wouldn't know. Leave it in the comments if you're a parent. Like,
no, but I don't understand the other part though of like, oh, you can fix the baby. You can fix the kid if they've killed 2 other kids already. Like, no, what, motherfucker, no. Like, there is no fixing that.
Does this logic make sense or is this kind of crazy? There is some cultural context as well. So in India, especially in rural areas, the family last name it's everything. It's kind of like that in East Asian culture as well. I think Japan, from what I hear, has a very strong belief in this. But family members want their last names to have esteem, high regard, respect, or at least in the lowest situations, be a neutral name. So doing something that disrespects the family, it doesn't just look bad on you, it looks bad on the whole family. At this point, the Sada family were known around town as hardworking, respectable. If word got out that Amar killed his own baby sister, their whole family would suffer. I mean, Amar's dad might not be able to even get a job or put food on the table for the whole family. Their family will not be able to escape this reputation for probably generations. That's how bad it is. I suppose they maybe didn't want to cause even more harm to their extended family members as well. I guess their logic was, well, it's not going to bring back the 2 victims.
Hey, chill with those kinds of jokes. Okay. Like, oh no. Okay, like, I'm smirking because it's just like so out of nowhere. Like, it caught me off guard. But yeah, somebody said let Diddy find him. Like, okay, that's not no. That's inappropriate. No. Don't worry. I'm not calling you a bad person, Chatter. I'm sure you're just trying. I think you're that one guy that went too far with the jokes. Yeah, no. That's not cool. No.
Members as well. That's how bad it is. I suppose they maybe didn't want to cause even more harm to their extended family members as well. I guess their logic was, well, it's not going to bring back the 2 victims. So they convinced themselves they're going to punish Amar so deeply, so badly, that he's never going to do this again. Side note, his cooldown period was 8 months between his first and second murder. He only waited 8 months. The first cool-off period is usually the longest, and sometimes with certain serial killers, it can last like a year or even longer. But his...
Ooh, wait, that's a good point. Wait, yeah. So his cooldown between his first kill was only 8 months? And considering what Stephanie said, that's scary. Because the first cooldown, like if you do go on to kill more than one person, that first initial... what's it called? The time between your first and second kill is usually the longest, right? Because it's like you're still getting over it. The feeling of killing is still so crazy to you, right? So the fact that he, an 8-year-old kid or a 7-year-old kid at that point, only waited 8 months, not even a full calendar year. Nah, like if he does kill somebody else, it's gonna be even sooner. Watch, it's not gonna be nearly it's not gonna be nearly as long as 8 months. I bet. Sorry, fuck me, the stuttering. I bet his next victim is gonna be like within the next 2 months or something. Watch.
Was only 8 months. Period is usually the longest, and sometimes with certain serial killers, it can last like a year or even longer. But his was only 8 months, and he's 8. So I don't know what the psychology behind that is, honestly. Maybe the time would have been shorter if he had access to another infant, or maybe, you can't help but wonder, maybe if his parents hadn't chosen to forget the first incident, would there even be a second incident? Well, one thing's for sure, the neighbors would never forget. Khushbu's mom was not a neighbor. She didn't even know Amar, but she did have an 8-month-old daughter named Khushbu, who would have been very hard, very difficult to run errands with. So Mrs. C is what we're going to call her, the mom. She had a few errands to run on her list and thought, okay, there is no way that I can get all of this done before the shops close if I take Kushboo with me. So she needed somewhere to drop off her baby for the day, and she chose this local daycare. Okay, like remember how I said there's not really daycares? It's not really a daycare. A lot of sources indicate that it seems more like it was a business run out of someone's home. And there were a lot of moms just watching a ton of kids for the neighbors. There wasn't like cameras. It wasn't an established business. There wasn't a certain number of like regulations they were following. It's like an at-home daycare. Now, Kushboo had already fallen asleep on the way to the daycare, so it was kind of perfect. Mrs. C would run her errands, drop the groceries back off at her home, and be back to pick up Kushboo before she even woke up from her afternoon nap. By the time she gets back to the daycare, you guessed it, Kushboo, who was once sound asleep, is gone. She's gone.
Here we go. Fucking hell. There's another one. The next victim.
She's not there.
Oh, physically gone.
Physically gone. So, I mean, this daycare serviced a lot of people. There were a lot of crazy toddlers running around. And because this was an underserved area, there were no door locks, childproofing, security cameras, or even like a receptionist watching the front desk at all times. It was, it just wasn't that secure. And I'm sure if Kushboo was crying and woke up crying, one of the daycare workers would have noticed and heard and rushed over to the room and helped her. But she was just gone. And the locals, they start freaking out. They start full on panicking. They had no idea where she had gone. Could someone really have come in and taken her? That doesn't make sense. I mean, when you think of someone that goes into a daycare and steals a child, I'm sure we all have like the same kind of image in our head. It's like this older man, looks creepy, looks like a serial killer. But the daycare workers would have noticed. Are you kidding? It's not that big of a space. I mean, she's too small to run off on her own, so this doesn't make sense either. So the police get involved, the neighbors get involved, everyone is whispering about all the possibilities. Well, maybe there was a nasty man who's going around kidnapping children, and maybe he's so good at being discreet. Maybe the daycare workers accidentally hurt her, and now they're trying to cover for it. There were so many speculations running through people's minds, but once the news traveled, and it traveled fast, by the way, once it traveled to Amar's home and to all of his neighbors, they're all looking at each other like, I don't think we're looking for some 50-year-old creepy man.
Yeah, they all fucking knew. Like, I mean, bro, who else knows about an 8-year-old kid that's already killed 2 other kids? Like, to them, it was like, oh my God, like, oh shit, here we go. And the reason why they're probably so frustrated is because it's just as much the parents' fault as the 8-year-old themselves. Yeah, it's just as much the parents' fault.
I think it's Amar. I think we're looking for some 50-year-old creepy man. I think it's Amar. It actually wasn't a neighbor that reported Amar. It was one of Amar's own family members, an auntie of his, who had heard of everything that happened with both the victims. And she quietly found Kushboo's mom, pulled her to the side and said, I heard about what happened. I don't really know how else to put this, but I have this nephew, and he's got a history, if you will, of just doing some...
Of killing kids? That would have been enough right there. Just, he has this history of, killing children. Like... Just say that. Like,
evil things. I have this nephew, and he's got a history, if you will, of just doing some evil things to babies. I feel like he's involved. People did not take this lightly. This is coming from an extended family member. Like, you just don't say things like this. Even the idea that a small kid could do something so evil is out of this world. It just doesn't make sense that this was a baseless accusation or a lie. Amar was now suspect number 1. The entire community formed an angry mob and stormed up to the Seda house. They demanded that the parents bring Amar to them. Initially, his parents tried to reason with the crowd. They're standing on the porch like, he's just a boy. How could he?
I'm gonna kill. Oh my God. Oh my God. I would beat the hell out of the 2 parents. Holy shit. Somebody smack him. He's just a boy. It's yeah. Somebody in chat pointed out my thoughts exactly. It's giving off, I'm just a girl, or like, you're just a girl type of energy. Like, nah, bitch. He's just a little boy. You literally saw him kill 2 children. One of them was your nephew, and then one was your daughter. And you watched them do... Sorry, my bad. I'm not... That point's irrelevant, but... It's just, like, how are you still saying he's just a boy? He didn't do it. Motherfucker, your kid has already done it. Twice.
Be responsible for this. His parents tried to reason with the crowd. They're standing on the porch like, he's just a boy. How could he be responsible for this? Think about it, everyone. He's a boy. You guys have kids. Think about it. Besides, bring us the evidence and we will bring you Amar. The neighbors would not give in. They stood outside until Amar was finally pushed out of his own home. He stepped out onto the porch in front of the crowd, and allegedly they were screaming, tell us what you did. Tell us what you did to that baby girl. Some people said he smiled as he said this, but he bluntly stated, I killed her.
Dude, it's just the nerve to be asking for evidence when they themselves know that their child has already killed 2 kids. That part just pisses me off. The nerve to be like, show us the proof. Motherfucker, your kid's a murderer.
But he bluntly stated, I killed her. And the mob of people dragged Amar from his porch and demanded he take them to where Khushbu was. He led them to the edge of town, and there was like a little pile of rocks covered with loose dirt and grass. And he pointed, right there. The mob ran to the police, and they didn't care that Amar's parents didn't want to ruin his life. Now their own children, their own families were in danger. So they ran all the way to the police station, told them everything that they knew. And side note, Mrs. C would do an interview a little bit later on, and she tells a completely different story of how it all went down. She stated that Amar came up to her directly and asked if he could play with the baby. And she stated she didn't think much of it because she was running errands, and this is like a cute little 8-year-old boy. So she was like, okay, I guess you can play with my baby.
She shared that version?
Yes, later on. So, okay, the story contradicts Mrs. C's own police reports from the day of the incident, as well as a ton of witness testimonies. It also contradicts Amar's own confession. So most people don't believe that this new version of events is the true version.
But why?
Yeah, so there's some speculations. Nobody knows exactly why. Some people speculate it's because the daycare that she dropped Khushbu off wasn't really a daycare. Some speculate that she just kind of dropped her baby off somewhere in like the public space to run errands, and then she like made up the daycare story and then was like, ooh, then they're gonna want to know which daycare and all of that. Then some people stated, oh no, she actually went to a daycare, but she probably didn't want that daycare to get the heat.
So she probably, okay, so she changed the story possibly because it made her look irresponsible. And everybody at the end of the day is trying to protect their own reputation. So if that lady said that she had just dropped the baby off in a random public space somewhat close to the daycare, it would sound really bad. So that's why she changed it to the story that she said. Yeah. Why would you do that though? That's kind of like, why would you even try to change details on this very serious case where you're trying to get the little boy in jail? If you start lying, you're just hurting the case and you're increasing the chances of the boy getting away. So why the fuck? Like, this isn't the time to be looking out for your own reputation. Like, just be honest and get that kid in jail.
So then she changed her story. Either way, I don't think that her new story is the real version of events. But Amar had taken another life. He was finally arrested May 30th of 2007, and he quickly confessed everything to the police. And this is where the case is so confusing. Amar said he wanted to confess because his parents taught him that lying is bad.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, every time someone asked him, he just said it.
Yeah.
But this is so weird.
So lying is like a cardinal sin for him. Clearly, he didn't think murdering 3 people was that bad. When asked about why he killed them, he said, because I wanted to. I didn't see why I shouldn't. A lot of people, including myself, are so confused about this case because ultimately Amar had 2 parents that loved him, maybe a bit too much, but they loved him. He had a roof over his head. He had food on the table. He had tons of neighborhood friends before he pushed them all away. And the question around this case is a killer born or is a killer created?
I think it's both. The thing is, like, the smiling stuff after killing, bashing a baby's skull with brick, sticking dirt into the body, that's not created by spoiling, like by the parents spoiling the kid. I think this 8-year-old kid was definitely born with evil. But then, this is where I am going to say that a killer can be created, kind of, is that he felt invincible. He felt that he could kill because his parents were so protective of him and like babied him and made him out to be an angel even after. So it's like a combination of the two. So I think a killer was born in this case, and then the killer was made to feel like he could actually kill because of his parents, because his parents were protecting him.
I feel like a long time ago, we actually did an episode where we theorized a bit. And quick disclaimer, I'm not an expert, I'm not a psychologist, but we were talking about how it seems like some people start out fine and then suddenly their lives just start spiraling into this black hole of crime, like a just rabbit hole of death. And you can see cases where the killer is just like all the other kids growing up. And the only difference is maybe they have like a slightly abusive parent or a slightly absent parent, or maybe they have a bully at school. Or the most random one that I've seen in so many cases is they fall off a swing and hit their heads.
Yes.
And it's like, it's happened so many times and it's just the weirdest. It's weird.
Wait,
It's
that's happened? Wait, is this like in another Stephanie video where like some kid fell and hit their head on a swing? Or like fell off of a swing and hit their head and then they became a killer after that? The fuck?
Seems like that's okay. And it's like, it's happened so many times and it's just the weirdest. It's weird. It seems like that's a key moment that has them going 50 miles an hour towards the dark side, falling off a swing.
Yeah, so there's definitely brain injury.
Yeah,
brain
to the
damage.
frontal lobe is what people suspect.
Brain damage.
But it makes you
yeah.
wonder, okay, if that hadn't happened, would they have lived a different life? But then again, there's a ton of people who are dealt much worse cards and they never kill anyone. So it can't just be the environment. So maybe the conclusion is a little bit of both. So let's say each time a person is born, they're either born a teddy bear or as a gun. And as they live life, all the little bits of trauma or sometimes even perceived trauma become bullets. And you can put a bullet in a teddy bear, but it's not going to do anything but hurt the teddy bear. But if you put bullets continuously into a gun, all it takes is a little bit of pressure and boom. And again, this is no way of excusing it. Like being
That's a really good analogy. Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
born a certain way, pressure and boom. And again, this is no way of excusing it. Like being born a certain way is no excuse to take a life or hurt another person. But that's kind of how I explain it in my head to make it make sense. It's obviously oversimplified, but it's weird that so many people can live such similar lives, such traumatic lives. And one is a killer and one is a guidance counselor / activist that helps others. So the only way that I can try and understand today's case is, I was thinking, okay, if Amar had committed these crimes when he was older, like when he was in his 20s, I would probably assume that he was born a gun and through life trauma, he became a serial killer. But he's 8. He's 8.
Yeah, that's...
So do we just conclude that he was born a fully loaded gun? Were there any additional things that have pushed him over the edge at such a young age? Honestly, I don't know. I tried to comb through all of the research and obviously with the help.
I thought low key that this case made it obvious. So like it's interesting to see Stephanie's opinion be like, oh, he's so young, so you can't make a solid conclusion. But for me, I was like, wait, he's 8, yeah. So it's like he hasn't even really had enough time to go through trauma, you know? So I thought this case was very obvious. Like if he's doing this at 8 years old with parents that were spoiling him, I think he was just born that way. Like he's just a born villain, you know? Yeah.
Of our wonderful age. Honestly, I don't know. I tried to comb through all of the research and obviously with the help of our wonderful researchers. There's just a few things that we could find, and I'm not even sure how much these contribute. Amar's family was part of the scheduled caste, aka the untouchables in India. We did a case that covered the caste system. Side note, the caste system has since been abolished in India, but from what my researchers have told me, in a lot of parts of India, the system is very much upheld socially.
Can you explain that again?
Yes. Okay. So the caste system in India is a social power pyramid, to put it simply. And we have the same thing in the US. It's just not as rigid. We've got the upper class, then we've got the middle upper class, then the middle class, then the middle lower class, then the lower class. You get it. That's basically it. But with the caste system, it's based on who you're born into, which I guess is the same in America, right? So the people at the top of the pyramid, they're the priests, they're the scholars, they are considered like the custodians of knowledge. And then under them, you have warriors and rulers. They're the ones that protect the land and the people. And then below that, you have merchants and farmers. Okay, the way I see it is like you've got academic elitists, then you've got maybe business owners, landowners, and then you've got white collar workers, blue collar workers. It's kind of that pyramid. At the bottom, you have laborers and servants. And these castes, they make up a pyramid. But then there's this other rectangle that's not part of the pyramid. It's underneath the pyramid, and it's not touching the pyramid. It's completely separate. This is the untouchable caste.
Oh, yes.
It's really sad. They're born into a life of discrimination and they're considered unpure and untouchable by other higher castes. Usually the only jobs that this caste can have access to is sewage cleaning, handling animal carcasses, and scavenging. It's said that if they're even able to get a job in an area where other higher castes live, they have to work at night so the higher castes won't even see them or accidentally, oh my God, touch them. Hence the name untouchables or even the scheduled caste.
Oh.
They aren't allowed to touch other cast members or their belongings.
So okay, that's pretty sad. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. It's like a very shitty card to be dealt in life. Yeah.
And if you're like, okay, well,
it doesn't justify anything, but yeah, I mean, you can argue there was definitely hardships in his life because obviously, yeah, they were. I mean, it was revealed early in the video that they were really poor, like a really poor family. Yeah. But so maybe he was just born with resentment because he had hardly any, like nothing. He didn't have anything growing up, really. I don't know. Like, yeah.
They aren't allowed to touch other cast members or their belongings. And if you're like, okay, well, this sounds like a long time ago. I will say a lot of things are changing in India, but in 2020, a man of the scheduled caste was allegedly stripped naked in public and beaten because he touched an upper caste man's motorcycle.
Jesus.
Which is crazy because, again, the caste system has been outlawed in 1950. But because this system has been around for 2,000 years, I mean, socially, it's going to be very hard to get rid of.
Next level classism. Jesus.
Has been around for 2,000 years. I mean, socially, it's going to be very hard to get rid of. Not too long ago, 2 boys were allegedly stripped and beaten for swimming in a well that belonged to an upper caste family. Women in the scheduled caste are a lot more vulnerable to physical and sexual violence because they're literally seen as less than human. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of people try to uphold this system because, well, for one, I'm sure as long as you're not in the bottom, you benefit. So you want to uphold the system that rewards you. But in addition to that, my researchers told me that the Hindu reincarnation belief suggests that your actions in this life influence how you will be reincarnated in your future life. So I know when you, like, I know as a Westerner or someone that's not familiar with this, it almost feels like, oh, wait, that's literally just discrimination. Okay, how are they okay with that? But if you believe in reincarnation, and if you believe that if you live a really good life and you're very faithful, you will have a chance of being reincarnated into a more privileged setting. If you commit a crime or if you don't lead a good life, you're going to be reincarnated into a lower caste. So a lot of people who follow this theology believe that their caste position is a result of their own deeds in their past lives and not luck and not being born into it and not being like a sperm fight. So they feel like they deserve whatever caste they're in. It's to the point that a lot of people in the scheduled caste actually believe that they must have lived terrible lives before this. Again, this is from my personal research online and assistance from our Indian researchers. I'm no expert in Hindu theology, so please.
Wow, so it's very much, it's not just built into the economic system or like the class system, but even like it's built in their morality, which is really messed up. So if you're born in a really bad, what's it called? Into a very bad, what was it? Oh man, what's the word? Fuck. Not just, what is it? Social. Oh. If you're born into like a really poor, low social class, you internalize that as you deserve it, you know? Like you deserve it. Like your past self in the previous life probably did some bad stuff, so you deserve this crappy life that you're living. Yeah. So it's like, so not only are you poor, but you think morally you've done something wrong. Like you deserve this. Like you deserve this shitty environment that you're living in. And then then it applies to the rich people too. Like if you're born into wealth, if you're born into the higher class, you think, you think even better of yourself. You think of yourself like a god or something. Like, I must have been so great in the previous life because look at me, I'm born into this privileged life. Fuck all of you down below me. Not only are you poor, but you're also worse people than me because you deserve that. Yeah, something like that.
Let me know if there's other online and assistance from our Indian researchers. I'm no expert in Hindu theology, so please let me know if there's other components to this in the comments. And I do want to reiterate, I would say that modern India, like most people in India, are like, this caste system sucks. Like, why are people still socially upholding it? I think
it's terrible.
The government is trying to do like some sort of, would you call it restitutions? They're trying to give more opportunities to the scheduled caste to uplift them now. But it was rough. So Mar was part of this social caste, and I'm sure that his life was impacted deeply by this, but I don't think that's an excuse because, I mean...
Yeah,
no.
This is just unheard of, whatever he did.
Yeah. And some people speculate that he was always jealous of other kids, but I don't know. And like maybe that jealousy led to this anger and hatred for children. I don't really think so.
No.
It's just crazy because, you know, as an adult, you can kind of like analyze their behavior.
Yeah.
But when someone's 8, their brain's not even developed yet. So I don't even know, like, how can... you have to have like a child specialist.
True. Yeah. The husband's spitting right now. At 8 years old, honestly, how much understanding could you have of your situation? Because like when I was like really young, and I think a lot of you can relate, especially if you didn't have like a super rich family. When I was super little, I had no concept. I had no idea of our wealth, or like if we even had a lot of money or if we had little money. You know, you don't really have a big concept of that unless you're literally like starving, obviously. Yeah. But I had no idea because again, you're super young, you're not super conscious of all that stuff, of finances. So to try and explain Amar's mindset, murderous mindset with the finances stuff and like the class system, the caste system. Nah, I don't think so. I do think this kid was just fucked up.
Analyze that.
Yeah.
So how I don't even know like how can you have to have like a child specialist to analyze that.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going on. Like I don't even know at what stage of learning is he at. Like what is he learning right now?
Yeah. I would say even in a lot of serial killer cases that we've covered, they usually start hurting animals maybe around this age, but even then, probably a little bit later. I feel like 8 is usually the age where they're still being victimized by someone or something in their lives. And then once they get a little bit bigger, maybe like early teens, that's when they start being a menace and they're like, let me take it out, let me be the perpetrator, and they start doing things to animals. Typically is like from at least what I've seen the pattern of, but this is crazy. I mean, at 8 to not even, I don't want to say start with animals, to not even have this escalation that most serial killers have, but just to go straight into killing is, I don't know. I mean, to put it simply, a lot of people think that he just experienced euphoria and satisfaction by inflicting pain. He chose infants because they could fight back for him to get that satisfaction, but not enough that he would lose the power position. Some people state that he also just doesn't have an innate moral compass like most humans do. Actually, a lot of psychologists who work with him stated this. So you know how even as kids, you know when something doesn't feel right? You're like, okay, most people aren't taught not to steal, but you know, like it's just like human nature to know that this is not right. Like you're like, this is wrong. He doesn't seem to have that. They also speculate that he must have a chemical imbalance in his brain that made him dangerous. A psychotherapist who works at one of India's top institutes for medical science said, such aggression, it may be hereditary and may be caused by great levels of chemical upheaval in the brain. There's got to be something in the brain.
Yeah.
I holy stutter. No, yeah, I would still bet. I mean, I said this prior in the video, but I would place bets on sociopathy. I would bet that he's sociopathic and narcissistic, and what's the other thing? It was sociopathic. Antisocial. Yeah.
Side note, there is no evidence that anyone in this family was violent. His dad used physical punishment with Amar, but so did a lot of parents in India and around the world. And again, I'm not saying like physical punishment is right, but it just doesn't seem to be a direct or only cause of why he did what he did. It just doesn't seem like he had exceptionally violent or harsh conditions from his parents or even his environment. So in the end, Amar was charged with the murder of Khushbu. He wasn't charged with the murders of his sister or his cousin because his family did not want to press charges against him.
Oh my fuck.
Wow,
Bro.
but he still killed them. There needs to be a charge for that to happen?
Yeah, and
So they know he killed the other 2 children, but because the charges weren't brought forth by the parents, what? So India, fix your law. Fix your law enforcement. Hell no. That does not make any sense. If you know somebody committed murder, but their family chooses not to press charges, are you just going to let that slide? You're going to let the murderer live on among society?
from what I am able to decipher right now, his mom is like denying it now. She's like, actually, he never killed anybody else. So
Boy moms.
kind of a mess, yeah.
Boy moms.
Yeah.
Bro.
Also, under Indian law, a minor cannot be sentenced to death or sent to prison
Boy mom, final boss.
for longer. Yeah. Also, under Indian law, a minor cannot be sentenced to death or sent to prison for longer than 3 years. He can spend his time until he's an adult locked away, but it's probably going to be in like a juvenile detention facility. Yeah. So the exact records of his sentence is unknown, but it's assumed that he spent at least 3 years in prison, or like max 3 years in prison, and then he went to a juvenile detention center until he was 18.
So wait, when was this? You said 2000.
Oh, he's out. He's
Oh,
free.
he's out right now.
Yeah, he's free. He should be 23 now? Yeah. Wait, is
No
my math
way.
correct? Yeah.
And do people know where he is?
No. Okay. So rumor has it that he changed his name to Simarjit, and he has since gotten married. Rumor has it, and lives near his mother. Rumor has it. But other than that, he has stayed completely under the radar. We really don't know anything more about him other than his age, a rumored new name, and the fact that he's free. A lot of netizens believe that Amar has a high chance of committing crimes again. And it's not because people like him cannot be rehabilitated. I don't want to be the one to say that because that just sounds so depressing. But it's less about the fact that, facilities like prisons and juvenile detention centers anywhere in the world, they're not brimming with money. It's not like they have the resources in the world to actually get people help. So they think that it's only a matter of time until he does something else after being released.
Yeah.
Others have stated if we haven't heard anything, he must have changed. But I don't know. There are a lot of discussions on whether or not he should be given the chance to grow because he was 8. What do you think?
Nah.
This is
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
what are your thoughts on this? Do you think 8-year-olds should be able to change even if they were serial killers? Or what if they committed essay, like something deplorable? Or do you feel like, well, commit adult crimes, do adult time?
What do y'all think? What's y'all's answer to that? My take, okay, rehabilitation of an 8-year-old that killed 3 kids and was protected. I don't know, dude. If it was just one killing, then maybe. It was 3 victims though, and they were all violent. Remember, it wasn't just like he had a gun and did it super fast and painless in the head. Like, he was bashing heads with bricks and playing with the bodies and nah. I don't think that kid deserves a second chance. I think at that point you got to be locked up for life. In my world, if I was like the leader of the country, nah. You're gonna spend the rest of your days in jail and you're gonna think about what you did. I don't give a or like in some mental institution, but regardless, like, you're not being let out into broader society. You can call me unforgiving and stuff like that, but I mean, it's 3 children, bro. It's excessive, and then the way he murdered them was also excessive. That's my take. I don't know. Let me hear your opinion, because I still am curious about rehabilitation. I am pro rehabilitation, but yeah, for cases like this, it's always interesting to see other people's opinions. Before I end the video, I do quickly want to say, f the parents. The parents were just as much at fault for all of this, for enabling that behavior. Like, the mom constantly forgiving and letting things slide is like 50% of the reason why the little boy felt as confident as he did to keep doing what he was doing, because no matter what he did, no matter how many people he killed, mommy was gonna be there to be on my side and to make me feel like the victim. The dad at least beat up the kid. So yeah, W dad in that regard. Anyway, that's the end of today's video. Very gruesome stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.